The CEO found a cleaning lady working in at midnight. What she was hiding left him speechless. Before we start the story, leave in the comments, what city are you watching from? And at the end, don't forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story, everyone. The Italian leather chair spun exactly 180 degrees when Maya sat in it. 2:14 in the morning. The executive floor of TechCore Solutions was completely empty, or should have been. Maya Reeves, wearing her navy blue apron with yellow rubber gloves hanging from her pocket, stared at the 3 giant monitors in front of her. "Okay, Maya? Breathe," she murmured to herself, adjusting her glasses that kept sliding down her nose. "You're just going to take a quick look, like when you peek in the fridge at night, knowing you shouldn't eat the last piece of cake. Except here, the cake is worth $500 million, and there are security cameras." The graphs on the monitors blinked red like Christmas lights with electrical problems. "Hypothesis A," she continued, talking to herself, clicking the mouse. "This system has an error so obvious that even my grandmother would see it. And she thinks the remote control works with telepathy." Her fingers flew across the keyboard. "Hypothesis B, you're going to be fired in approximately 6 minutes. No, 5. Definitely 5. Maya bit her lower lip, focused on the screen. The problem was glaring. She had studied statistics at the University of Texas before dropping everything to take care of her grandmother. Numbers made sense. People didn't. "Okay, just adjust this variable here and—" "Is this allowed?" Maya didn't just scream. She screamed, jumped out of the chair, hit her knee on the desk, grabbed the mouse to keep from falling, and ended up pulling the entire keyboard, which flew through the air in slow motion, before landing on the floor with a noise that echoed across the entire floor. A glass pen holder toppled over. 3 pens rolled in different directions. Maya tried to grab the keyboard in midair, stepped on her own cleaning cloth, slipped, held onto the desk, and knocked over an empty coffee cup that hit the picture frame, which miraculously didn't break, which pushed a notepad, which knocked over a Rubik's Cube. When the chaos finally ended, she was on her knees on the floor, holding the keyboard as if it were a newborn baby, with her glasses crooked and one of her shoes 3 meters behind her. Logan Pierce was standing at the door. The CEO of TechCore Solutions, 32 years old, estimated fortune of $3 billion, was wearing a black rock band t-shirt and jeans. His brown hair was messy. He was holding a tablet. And he was blinking. Blinking a lot, like a computer trying to load a very heavy program. Maya began, still on her knees. "Okay, this looks worse than it is. Actually, no, it looks exactly as bad as it is." Logan tilted his head 15 degrees to the right. "You're on the floor," he observed. "Excellent perception. 10 out of 10. You must be very good at your job." She tried to get up, stepped on the cleaning cloth again, slipped again, and ended up sitting on the floor in a position that could only be described as defeated. "Do you need assistance?" Logan asked, taking a step into the office as if he were approaching a wild animal. "No, definitely not." Maya raised a hand in a stop gesture. "Stay there. I have a system. It's a terrible system, but it's mine." She managed to stand up on the 3rd try, recovered her shoe, put her glasses back in place, and tried to assume a dignified posture. Difficult, considering she was still holding the keyboard against her chest. "So," she said, "before you call the police." "Why would I call the police?" "Because I'm breaking into your computer?" "Oh," Logan blinked again. "Is this breaking in? From a legal standpoint, probably yes." "I see." Silence. "You're not going to call the police?" Maya asked, confused. "I don't have the number." "Everyone has the police number. It's 911. "Oh, correct." Maya waited. Logan continued standing there, looking at her as if he were trying to solve a very complicated equation. "You're not going to do anything?" She tried again. "You were adjusting the parameters," he said, looking at the monitors. "I was thinking about adjusting." Maya placed the keyboard back on the desk with excessive care. "Thinking is not a crime. Yet, I think. I'm not a lawyer. But you understand predictive modeling. I understand that your system has an error that's going to make your company lose enough money to buy a small country. Like a really small country. But still a country." Logan took 3 steps forward. Maya took 2 steps back and bumped into the chair, which spun and hit the desk, making the Rubik's Cube roll again. She grabbed the cube before it fell. Quick reflexes, Logan commented. Thank you. I practice dropping things constantly. Explain the error, Maya blinked. Excuse me? The error in the system. Explain. You actually want to know? Yes. You're not gonna fire me? Negative. Negative, Maya repeated, incredulous. Who says negative in a normal conversation? I do. Fair enough. She approached the monitors, momentarily forgetting that she was invading the personal space of a billionaire who apparently didn't understand basic social conventions. Okay, look here. She pointed at the screen. Your data is using the second quarter correction rate, but it doesn't account for seasonal consumption changes. Do you know what happens at Christmas? Gifts? Yes, people buy differently at Christmas than in June. Your model assumes they don't. This red line here? It's lying. Lying badly, like a politician in an election year. Logan moved closer, standing so near that Maya could smell cold coffee and something that seemed like lavender soap. Continue. If you correct the regression curve here, Maya moved the mouse, and include the seasonal volatility factor, your numbers change completely. The difference of $500 million. She turned and found Logan looking directly at her with an intensity that made her brain short-circuit a little. Up close, he had a small scar on his left eyebrow and gray-green eyes with golden specks. You, he began and stopped. I should be escorted out of the building? Maya offered. You saved my company. Or committed a federal crime, depending on how your lawyer wants to interpret it. Logan kept looking at her. You work in cleaning. I do. Maya made a dramatic gesture toward her own uniform. Wasn't the apron being obvious? But you understand statistics. I studied for 2 years at the University of Texas before having to drop everything to take care of my grandmother, who now thinks I work as a corporate environment maintenance specialist. Because if I tell her I'm a cleaning lady, she's going to have a breakdown. The words came out all at once, as always happened when Maya got nervous. She saw something happen on his face. It wasn't exactly a smile, but the corner of his mouth moved. That's... he began. Maya prepared herself for the lecture. Fascinating. Sorry, what? Your thought process. It's fascinating. My thought process right now is mostly panic. Most of my analysts wouldn't have seen that error. Most of your analysts probably don't stay until 2 in the morning looking at graphs while removing dust from keyboards with those special cloths that cost more than my lunch. True, Logan agreed, completely serious. He picked up the Rubik's Cube that Maya had saved and tried to solve it. He made 2 moves and gave up. I don't know how to solve this, he admitted. Nobody does. It's one of humanity's mysteries. I have a PhD in computer science, and I have a high school diploma and credit card debt. Life is full of mysteries. Logan placed the cube back on the desk with excessive care, as if it were a museum piece. Maya Reeves, he read the name on her badge. You are officially authorized to access the systems. That sounds like the kind of permission that's going to get me in trouble later. High probability, he agreed. You agree with everything I say? Only with facts. I literally just said credit cards are one of life's mysteries. Also a fact. Maya couldn't hold it in. She laughed, a short, disbelieving laugh that came out before she could control it. Logan tilted his head again, as if he were studying a rare phenomenon. You laughed. People do that sometimes. It's a normal human response. I see. You don't laugh much, do you? I don't see the usefulness. The usefulness is that it's funny. But what's the purpose? Maya looked at him, at the chaotic office, at the monitors still blinking red, and back at this billionaire CEO who apparently didn't understand the concept of laughter. The purpose, she said slowly, is that life is absurd, and if we don't laugh, we cry. Logan processed this for 3 full seconds. Logical, he finally said. And there, at 2:18 in the morning, in the most expensive office in Austin, Texas, surrounded by scattered pens and a traumatized keyboard, Maya was absolutely certain that her life had just taken a completely unexpected turn. Hypothesis C, she murmured. I just met the strangest person in the corporate universe. Confirmed, Logan replied, already turning his attention back to the monitors. And Maya wasn't sure if he had heard or if he was agreeing with his own thoughts. Either way, this was officially the most bizarre early morning of her life. And something told her it was only the beginning. Logan Pierce didn't sleep. At 7:43 on Sunday morning, He was sitting in the same Italian leather chair looking at the same 3 monitors, but now the numbers were completely different. Green. All green. $523 million saved by a cleaning lady who slipped on her own cleaning cloth. He blinked at the screen, then at the empty coffee cup next to the keyboard, the 4th coffee of the night, and back at the numbers. "I need to thank her," he said out loud to the empty office. The office didn't respond, which was expected, but it also didn't help him with the current problem. Logan Pierce, CEO of a $3 billion company, had no idea how to thank a human being. He opened his laptop, typed "how to thank someone formally" into the search engine, and stared at 17 articles about corporate etiquette. None of them covered the scenario: cleaning lady saves company in the middle of the night while you scare her and she destroys your office. At 8:15, Logan heard the unmistakable sound of a cleaning cart hitting a door. He stood up so fast he knocked over the empty cup, which rolled across the desk and fell to the floor. It didn't break. Logan looked at the cup, then at the door, then back at the cup, as if calculating the odds of that. "Focus," he murmured to himself, adjusting the tie he had put on at 7 in the morning, because article number 3 said that professional appearance conveys respect. He had changed from the band t-shirt to a dress shirt, jeans to tailored pants, and now felt like he was wearing an uncomfortable costume. The door opened. Maya came in pushing the cart, earphones in her ears, humming something that sounded like pop music, loud enough for Logan to hear, even from a distance. She didn't see him. Logan stood there, frozen, not knowing the correct protocol. Should he cough? Wave? Send an email letting her know he was present? Maya spun the cart, grabbed the cleaning spray, aimed at the window glass, and finally turned her head. She screamed. The spray flew from her hand toward the window, hit the glass, bounced off, and struck an artificial plant in the corner, which toppled over in slow motion. "For the love of..." Maya ripped out her earphones, breathing as if she had run a marathon. "You again? Is this some kind of corporate test? Like measuring how many heart attacks an employee can handle before suing the company?" "Good morning," Logan said, because article number 7 emphasized the importance of appropriate greetings. "Good morning," Maya repeated, incredulous. "You're giving me a good morning after almost making me faint?" "Yes." "That's it? Just yes?" "Confirmed." Maya put her hand on her chest, took 3 deep breaths, and then narrowed her eyes at him. "Did you sleep here?" "Negative. I didn't sleep." "You stayed up all night?" "Correct." "Why?" Logan opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I need to thank you." The silence that followed was so heavy that Maya could feel the weight of it. "You need to thank me," she repeated slowly, as if testing the words. "Yes. And you stayed up all night thinking about this?" "Also yes." "Hypothesis A," Maya began, picking up the spray from the floor. "You're a poorly programmed robot. Hypothesis B, you had a stroke and nobody noticed yet. Hypothesis C, you literally don't know how to use basic human words." Logan blinked 4 times. "Option C seems most likely," he admitted. Maya let out a laugh that was half laughter, half sound of disbelief. "Okay, fine. You want to thank me. So thank me." "Thanked you." "Done. That was easy. It doesn't seem like enough." "Because it isn't." Maya crossed her arms, tilting her head. "You realize I saved $500 million for your company, right? Like, I could have pretended I didn't see anything, but my brain is annoyingly honest." "I know. That's why I need to thank you properly." "Properly how?" Logan put his hand in his pocket and pulled out a white envelope. Maya looked at the envelope as if it were a trap. "What is that?" "A bonus." "A bonus," she repeated, without moving. $15,000. The cleaning spray fell from her hand again. This time she didn't even try to catch it. "Sorry." "How much?" $15,000. I heard. Maya raised her hands. "I'm just processing. Like, my brain is rebooting. Can you wait about 30 seconds? Logan waited exactly 30 seconds, looking at the watch on his wrist. "Time's up," he said. "Did you actually time that?" "Yes." "Okay. New hypothesis. You're an alien studying human behavior, and you're failing miserably." Logan tilted his head 15 degrees to the left, the opposite side from yesterday, and Maya realized that was his equivalent of a shrug. "Maya Reeves," he said formally, extending the envelope. This is a monetary recognition for your exceptional service to TechCore Solutions. Your contribution saved the company from a significant loss and demonstrates analytical skill beyond your current role. Maya looked at the envelope, then at him, then back at the envelope. You memorized that, didn't you? I read 17 articles about corporate etiquette. 17. I wanted to ensure appropriateness. And you think this is appropriate? Maya pointed at the envelope as if it were radioactive. Article number 11 suggested financial compensation proportional to the value saved. And you calculated 15,000 based on 0.3% of 500 million. You did math to thank me? It's the most logical way. Maya pressed her fingers against her temples. Okay, let's try again, from scratch. I'm going to teach you how humans do this. She approached him. Logan became visibly tense and gently pushed the envelope back into his pocket. First, she said, you don't buy gratitude. Second, $15,000 is too much money for a cleaning lady to receive without raising suspicions in the Human Resources Department. Third, and most importantly, if you really want to thank me, how about looking me in the eyes and saying thank you, as if I were a real person? Logan stared at her. His gray-green eyes met hers. 5 seconds. 10, 15. You're doing it wrong, Maya whispered. I'm looking into your eyes. Too fixed. It looks like you're going to hypnotize me or process my soul. Logan blinked, broke eye contact, looked at the window, then back at her. Thank you, Maya. You saved my company. I wouldn't have seen the error. You are exceptional. Something happened in Maya's chest. Something warm and strange and completely unexpected. Nobody had ever called her exceptional. That, she said, and her voice came out lower than she intended, was better. Better? Much better. Logan gave a half smile, or something that was trying to be a smile but looked more like a facial glitch. Can I ask you something? You can. Why were you in my office at 2 in the morning? Maya picked up the cleaning spray from the floor for the third time. Because I clean this floor every Sunday in the early morning, and because your graphs had been blinking red for 3 weeks and it was driving me crazy. 3 weeks? I have undiagnosed OCD. Things out of place bother me, including glaring statistical errors. Logan processed this. So you corrected my $500 million error because it was bothering you aesthetically? Basically. That is simultaneously the strangest and most brilliant thing I've ever heard. Maya laughed. A real laugh this time. You're very weird. I know. Like, really weird. I know that too. But in a kind of... She stopped, biting her lip. Logan tilted his head, waiting. Kind of what? Nothing. Forget it. But their eyes met again, and this time neither of them looked away immediately. And in the awkward silence that followed, Maya realized something disturbing. She was intrigued by this robotic CEO who didn't know how to say thank you, but spent the night awake trying to figure out how to do it right. And Logan, for the first time in 32 years, realized that there was someone in the world who saw his numbers the same way he did, as if they were poetry. Hypothesis D, Maya murmured, breaking the silence. I just met the strangest and most interesting person in Austin. Logan didn't respond, but the corner of his mouth moved again, and Maya had the disturbing feeling that coming from him, that was the equivalent of a radiant smile. Harrison Clark had the smile of a shark that had just smelled blood in the water. Monday, 9:20 in the morning, and the CFO of TechCore Solutions was standing at the door of the conference room, holding a tablet as if it were a weapon. His ice-blue eyes swept the hallway until they landed exactly where he wanted, on Logan Pierce's office. Interesting, he murmured, adjusting the knot of his Italian tie. Very interesting. 3 floors below, Maya was having a deep conversation with a spreadsheet. Look, I understand you're trying to tell me something, she said to the screen of the old laptop the company provided for cleaning staff to check their schedules. But you need to be clearer. Like, this column here? This column is lying. I know it's lying because Tuesday's numbers are identical to Thursday's, and that doesn't happen. Not even twins are that similar. She was sitting in a break room that smelled like reheated coffee and forgotten corporate dreams, surrounded by 3 piles of papers she had accidentally rescued from recycling. Okay, so if we assume Tuesday is right, she continued, typing furiously, Thursday is wrong by approximately $87,000. $87,000. That's college money. That's a car. That's... Talking to computers now? Maya jumped out of her chair, knocked over a pile of papers, and spun so fast she hit her elbow on the table. Ow, what? She squeezed her elbow, making a face. Why does everyone in this company appear out of nowhere like a corporate ghost? Logan was standing at the door, holding 2 cups of coffee. I brought coffee, he said. You brought coffee? Yes, for me. Correct. Why? Logan looked at the cups as if they had appeared in his hands by telepathy. Article number 4 said that sharing hot beverages demonstrates camaraderie in the workplace. Maya pressed her fingers against her temples. You're still reading articles about how to interact with me? I'm on article 23 now. There are 23 articles? 32, actually. But I skipped some about hugs. They seemed premature. Maya couldn't hold back the laugh, a short burst of laughter that caught her by surprise. Okay, all right, thank you for the coffee that you extensively researched before bringing. She took one of the cups. It was warm. It smelled like vanilla and caramel. How did you know I like sweet coffee? I observed, Logan admitted, and suddenly seemed very interested in his own coffee. You observed me? Basic behavioral analysis. You add 3 sugar packets to the machine coffee every morning. 4 on Mondays. Maya blinked. That's kind of cute and kind of disturbing at the same time. That's my specialty. She laughed again. She had been laughing a lot lately, she realized, and then noticed Logan looking at the piles of paper on the table. What is this? He asked. Oh, this? It's research? Research, he repeated, moving closer. About? About how your financial data has more holes than Swiss cheese. Logan stopped mid-step. Explain. Okay, don't get mad, but I've kind of been going through discarded documents and... Why would I be mad? Because technically this could be considered spying. You're fixing my mistakes again. Basically. Continue. Maya picked up the middle pile, which was marked with colorful sticky notes forming a system that only made sense to her. Look here, Tuesday and Thursday reports. Identical numbers. Impossible. So I went deeper, found reports from March until now, and guess what? Consistent pattern of duplication. Exactly. Maya slapped her hand on the table, excited. You got it. Someone is copying and pasting data instead of doing the actual work. And it's not just laziness. The errors add up to almost $2 million in 6 months. Logan went so quiet that Maya checked if he was still breathing. Logan? 2 million, he said slowly. More or less. My calculator is mental, and I had to stop studying in my 2nd year, so it could be 2.3, but this is sabotage. Maya blinked, or incompetence, also an option. No, this is intentional. Logan picked up one of the papers, his eyes scanning the numbers with impressive speed. These reports go through the CFO, Harrison Clark, the guy who looks like a corporate movie villain. Accurate description. So you think he's doing this on purpose? Logan didn't respond. He was looking at the papers with an intensity that made Maya feel like she had just opened a door that maybe should have stayed closed. 3 floors above, Harrison Clark was finishing a phone call. Yes, Mr. Pemberton. I understand your concern, he was saying, his voice smooth as poisoned silk. But I can assure you that the situation with CEO Pierce will be resolved. Errors of this magnitude cannot be ignored by the board. I'll prepare a complete report for Thursday's meeting. He hung up and smiled at his own reflection in the window. Back in the break room, Maya noticed that Logan was looking at her instead of the papers. What is it? She asked. How do you do that? Do what? See things. Logan gestured vaguely at the documents. Patterns. Errors. Things that should be obvious but nobody notices. Maya shrugged. I pay attention, and I also have a lot of time left over while cleaning floors to think about why numbers don't make sense. It's not just that, Logan took a step closer. You think differently. You connect things that shouldn't connect. Is that a compliment, or are you saying my brain is weird? Both. Fair enough. Silence. A strange silence where both of them held coffee cups and avoided direct eye contact. Can I ask you something? Maya finally said. Yes. Why do you trust me? Like I'm literally the cleaning lady who broke into your computer. Doesn't that raise any red flags in your internal security system? Logan tilted his head, 20 degrees this time. Maya was starting to catalog the angles. You saved my company. Twice now. Or I'm setting up an elaborate plan to sabotage you. You're a terrible liar. How do you know? Your eyebrows rise 3 millimeters every time you try to lie, and you bite the inside of your left cheek. Maya stood completely still. You analyzed my face? Behavioral analysis, Logan repeated, but his ears turned slightly pink. You're blushing? Negative. Your ears disagree. My ears don't have an opinion. Maya laughed, that real burst of laughter she didn't usually have, and Logan smiled genuinely for the first time. It wasn't a half smile or a facial glitch. It was a genuine smile that completely transformed his face. And something happened in Maya's chest, something inconvenient and complicated. Hypothesis E, she murmured, more to herself than to him. You're terrifying and interesting in equal proportions. Equal proportions, Logan repeated. 50% each, statistically balanced. You just turned a feeling into math. It's my native language. And Maya realized with growing terror that she was starting to understand that language. In the hallway outside, Harrison Clark passed by the door, looked into the break room for a second, and moved on. But the smile on his lips was that of someone who had just found exactly the ammunition he needed. 2 days after Harrison Clark's smile in the hallway, Logan Pierce made the worst decision of the week, inviting Maya for coffee during her break. Not just any coffee. The most expensive coffee shop in Austin. Is this an ambush? Maya asked, standing on the sidewalk, looking at the coffee shop as if it were a trap. Logan held the door open, holding an artisanal glass cup with her name spelled wrong, Maya, costing exactly $18. It's coffee, he replied, confused. $18 coffee. I saw the sign in the window. $18 for a drink. That's more expensive than my lunch for the entire week. Article 28 suggested demonstrating appreciation through shared experiences in a neutral environment. Neutral environment, Maya repeated, gesturing at the coffee shop that had crystal chandeliers and plants that probably cost more than her rent. This is the opposite of neutral. This is aggressively expensive. Logan blinked 3 times. You don't want to come in? I don't want to break anything that costs the equivalent of my kidney. Why would you break something? Because that's what I do. Maya gestured dramatically. You've seen me. I knock things over. I trip on air. My physical existence is a walking disaster. And this place, she pointed, this place has cups that are probably imported from some European country with an unpronounceable name. France. What? The cups. They're French. Maya covered her face with her hands. You're making everything worse. Logan stood at the door, still holding her cup, looking genuinely lost. I did research. This is the highest-rated coffee shop in Austin. 5 stars, 247 positive reviews. You read 247 reviews? Yes. Why? To make sure it would be appropriate. Something happened in Maya's chest. Something warm and inconvenient that reminded her of how he had genuinely smiled in the break room 2 days ago. Okay. She took a deep breath. Okay, let's try. But if I break something, you take the blame. Agreed. They went in. The coffee shop smelled of freshly roasted beans and old money. Maya immediately felt like an intruder, with her cleaning uniform and worn sneakers that made a rubber sound against the polished wooden floor. A woman in a suit looked at her, then at Logan, then back at her with an expression that clearly said, "Are you lost, dear?" Hypothesis F, Maya murmured. I wasn't meant to exist in expensive environments, like biologically. My DNA rejects chandeliers. Your DNA doesn't have an opinion about lighting, Logan said, guiding her to a table near the window. You don't understand. I'm like those freshwater fish you can't put in salt water, except the salt water is money and I'm literally disintegrating. Logan pulled out the chair for her. Maya looked at the chair as if it were a trap. You just pulled out the chair for me? Yes. Why? Article 31, Gentlemanly acts demonstrate respect. How many articles are you going to read? All of them. Maya sat down, laughing softly. Logan sat across from her, placing her cup on the table with excessive care. Maya, she read the name on the cup. They got it wrong. I noticed. Should I correct it? No, definitely not. Leave it. It's charming in a wrong kind of way. Logan tilted his head 22 degrees. You find mistakes charming? I find everything about this situation surreal. She picked up the cup, and because the universe had a terrible sense of humor, her fingers slipped. The coffee flew. It wasn't a small, dignified spill. It was an event, a liquid catastrophe in slow motion. The cup escaped her hand, spun in the air, and the $18 coffee with organic almond milk and a touch of Madagascar vanilla sprayed directly onto Logan's white dress shirt. "No!" Maya screamed, standing up so fast she hit her knee on the table, which shook and nearly knocked over Logan's coffee too. She tried to grab napkins, stepped on her own foot, stumbled, grabbed onto the chair, which slid and hit the table next to them, where a man with glasses almost dropped his laptop. "Sorry, sorry," she was shouting to everyone. "I warned you. I literally warned you this was going to happen." Logan was sitting, completely still, looking at the brown stain spreading across the chest of his $300 shirt. "I'll pay for the shirt," Maya said, returning to the table with a handful of napkins. "I don't know how. I'll need to sell a kidney, but I'll—" Logan stood up, took the napkins from her, and tried to clean his own shirt. He managed to spread the stain even more. "You're making it worse," Maya pointed out. "Correct observation." He tried again, rubbing harder, and the stain grew until it covered half his chest. "Stop. Stop rubbing." Maya grabbed the napkins from his hand. "You're rubbing. You have to dab. Everyone knows that." She stopped. Logan was looking at her with an expression she had never seen before. It wasn't irritation. It wasn't embarrassment. It was something close to amusement. "You're smiling," she said. "Negative. Your eyes are smiling. That counts. Eyes don't laugh. Yours do." Logan looked at the ruined shirt, then at Maya holding the napkins, then at the chaos around them. Chair out of place, man with laptop still looking annoyed, woman in suit shaking her head. And then he laughed. It wasn't a loud laugh. It was a low, surprised sound, as if it had escaped without permission. But it was real. Maya stood completely still. "You laughed." "Apparently. You're capable of laughing." "It would seem so. This is like discovering that robots dream, or that rocks have feelings." Logan grabbed clean napkins and, with excessive care, began dabbing at the shirt, following exactly what Maya had said. "You were right," he admitted. "Rubbing makes it worse. I know a lot of useless things. It's not useless if it works." Maya realized they were standing very close to each other, her still holding napkins, him trying to save the shirt, completely oblivious to the people watching. "Sorry," she said softly. "Really, I ruined your nice gesture." "You didn't ruin anything. I threw $18 coffee on your— How much does this shirt cost?" $280. Maya groaned. "I'm going to be cleaning corporate bathrooms until 2030 to pay for that." "The shirt is irrelevant. To you, who has $3 billion. Logan stopped cleaning and looked directly at her. "Maya, the shirt doesn't matter. Shirts are replaceable. This," he gestured vaguely between the two of them, "isn't." "This what? I don't know what to call it, but it's interesting." "Interesting," Maya repeated, feeling her face warm up. "Positively interesting. That's literally the most robotic description of whatever this is that I've ever heard." "I'm trying." And something in the way he said it, serious, sincere, completely without irony, made Maya realize that he really was trying. Logan Pierce, billionaire CEO who read 32 articles about human interaction, who timed exactly 30 seconds, who memorized how much sugar she put in her coffee, was genuinely trying to figure out how to connect with her. "Hypothesis G," she murmured. "You're the strangest and most adorable person I've ever met." Logan blinked. "Adorable? Did I say adorable? I meant tolerable. Definitely tolerable." "Your eyebrows rose 3 millimeters. You're lying. Your facial analysis is disturbing. But accurate." Maya laughed, that real burst of laughter she couldn't control around him, and Logan smiled again. A small smile, but genuine. And in the middle of the expensive coffee shop with his ruined shirt and spilled coffee, something changed between them, something neither of them knew how to name yet. Outside the window, Harrison Clark was walking on the sidewalk. He stopped, looked inside and saw the two of them laughing together, completely absorbed in each other. His smile grew sharper, and he took his phone out of his pocket, making a call as he walked away. Maya returned to work with her shirt still smelling of $18 coffee. It was 3:20 in the afternoon, the end of her break, and she could still feel the strange warmth in her chest from when Logan had said she was irreplaceable. Or had it been the shirt he called irreplaceable? Her thoughts were too confused to be sure. She pushed the cleaning cart down the hallway of the 12th floor, humming softly, when she noticed something under Harrison Clark's desk. A blue folder. Label, Confidential, Q4 Projections. "It's none of my business," she murmured, wiping the table. It's definitely none of my business. But it was. Especially after the conversations about sabotage, $2 million errors, and Harrison's shark smile in the hallway. Oh, forget it. 10 minutes later, Maya was practically running down the hallway, holding the folder against her chest as if it were contraband. Logan had mentioned that he worked in the server room when he needed silence. She could leave the folder there, he would find it, and she could pretend it had been a coincidence. She typed the code, 4271, and the heavy door opened. "Quick, Maya. Go in, leave the folder, get out." She went in. Logan was there, with his back turned, working on a laptop balanced on top of a box, still wearing the coffee-stained shirt. "Ah!" Maya screamed. Logan spun so fast he knocked the laptop over, catching it in midair with surprising reflexes. "Maya, why are you still here? Didn't you go change your shirt? I work here. And no, the shirt is irrelevant, remember? It has a giant coffee stain." "Correct observation." He looked at the folder in her hand. "What is that?" "I found it under Harrison's desk. You need to see this." Logan crossed the small room and took the folder. He opened it. His eyes widened. "This is evidence. Transfers, alterations to reports, communications with external investors." He flipped through pages quickly. "Maya, this proves that Harrison is—" The door closed. Click. Very final. They looked at the door, then at each other. "Was that—" Maya began. "Automatic lock. 30 seconds. Closes by itself if nobody holds it. And to get out we need—" "The code from the outside." Pause. "So we're locked in." "Correct. In a server room." "Also correct. Without a phone." Maya checked her empty pockets. "I left it on the cart." Logan took out his phone. "No signal. Shielded walls. Security against interference. Nobody knows we're here." "Negative. And the next person arrives?" "Friday, 7 in the morning. Maintenance team." Maya processed this. "Wednesday, 3:30 in the afternoon. 60 hours? Approximately. Give or take, depending on traffic." "You're making a joke about traffic while we're trapped?" "It wasn't a joke. It was a realistic estimate." Maya started pacing back and forth. Difficult, considering there were maybe 3 meters of free space. Hypothesis A, we yell until someone hears us. Soundproof walls. Hypothesis B, we break down the door. Reinforced steel. Hypothesis C, we hack the system. Requires biometric authentication from the outside. Hypothesis D, Maya stopped, looking at him with growing desperation. "This will be my corporate tomb. They're going to find me on Monday, frozen like those guys in that shit movie, only surrounded by blinking computers instead of icebergs. The temperature is 18 degrees Celsius, uncomfortable, but not lethal." "You just did survival analysis?" "Yes." "That doesn't help." Logan tilted his head at 20 degrees, the nervousness gesture she already recognized. "I'll turn on the emergency heater." "There's a heater?" "For the servers, but it should work for us too." He fiddled with a panel. A humming started. The temperature rose marginally, like half a degree. "Better?" he asked, hopeful. "We're still locked in, Logan." "True." Maya let herself slide down the wall until she was sitting on the cold floor. Logan stood there, visibly calculating protocols. "You can sit down," she said. "I promise not to bite." I wasn't worried about biting. Then about what? Personal space, appropriate proximity. Maya looked around the room. "Logan, protocol died when the door closed. Sit down." He considered for 3 seconds and sat next to her. Exactly 15 centimeters apart, Maya noticed. "You measured that mentally, didn't you?" "Yes." "Unbelievable. Usually it's not a compliment when people tell me that." "This time it is," Maya laughed. That laugh that only happened around him. The servers hummed. The heater coughed warm air. Time stretched on. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said. "Yes." "Why are you like this? All calculated. All measured. The articles, the exact 15 centimeters. The silence was long. So long that Maya thought she had crossed a line. "When I was 7 years old," Logan finally said, voice lower, "my teacher said I processed information differently. Saw patterns where others saw chaos. My parents took me to 17 specialists, various diagnoses. Conclusion, my brain works well for numbers, poorly for people." "Logan, I don't naturally understand sarcasm. I can't read expressions without studying them. I need to learn human interaction like equations. That's why the articles. That's why the 15 centimeters. Without rules," he looked at his own hands. I don't know how to exist around people without ruining everything. Something tightened in Maya's chest. You're not ruining anything. We're locked in because of the door, not because of you. But I should have held it. That's protocol. I got distracted with the folder and, hey, Maya turned completely toward him. Look at me. Logan obeyed, gray-green eyes meeting hers. You're the most genuine person I've ever met. You know why? Because you try. You read 32 articles. You memorize sugar and coffee. You care enough to want to do it right. That's not ruining things. That's incredible. You think so? I know it is. The distance was 15 centimeters. 12, 10. Logan looked at her lips, quick, almost imperceptible, and back to her eyes. Maya, Beep, beep, beep. Loud alarm from the panel. Both jumped back, as if they had been shocked. The door opened, a security guard standing there, confused. Did someone activate the temperature alarm? Logan and Maya looked at each other, realizing that the most vulnerable moment of their lives had been interrupted by an overheated heater, and neither of them knew whether to thank or curse the emergency equipment. The cold air from the hallway hit Maya like a slap in the face. She stumbled out of the server room, blinking at the fluorescent lights that seemed 10 times brighter after 40 minutes in a cold box. Logan came out behind her, tripping over his own foot, something she had never seen him do. The security guard was looking at them as if he had found aliens. Were you working? He asked, clearly doubtful. Yes, Logan answered. At the same time, Maya said, no. They looked at each other. Working, Maya corrected. No, Logan said simultaneously. The security guard narrowed his eyes. You know it's against the rules to lock the room without authorization, right? The door locked by itself, Maya explained quickly. We didn't. We were investigating corporate fraud, Logan completed. Maya stepped on his foot, hard. Ow, we were checking the servers, Logan corrected, hopping on one foot. The security guard looked at Logan's coffee-stained shirt, then at Maya with her wrinkled cleaning uniform, and sighed like someone who wasn't paid enough to deal with this. Just don't do it again, and turn off the heater next time. He walked away down the hallway, shaking his head. Maya and Logan stood there, alone in the empty hallway. You stepped on my foot, Logan said. You were going to tell a random security guard about the fraud. He asked. Asking doesn't mean you have to tell the complete truth. Sometimes you just improvise. I don't know how to improvise. My brain doesn't have an improvise function. Clearly, Maya laughed, and then the laugh turned into a burst of laughter, and suddenly she was laughing so hard she needed to lean against the wall. Logan watched her with that expression of fascinated confusion. Why are you laughing? Because, she tried to control her breathing. Because we almost got stuck for 60 hours. You're wearing a shirt with spilled coffee. I just stepped on my boss's foot, and you almost reported a corporate conspiracy to a security guard who clearly just wants to go home. When you put it that way, it sounds absurd. Because it is. And then Logan laughed too. That low, surprised sound that made Maya's chest do strange things. They started walking down the hallway, side by side, still laughing occasionally. Thank you, Logan said after a moment. For stepping on your foot? For saving the situation. I would have told everything. I know. You're terribly honest. Is that a flaw? It's adorable, Maya said, and then realized what she had said. It's efficient, like business efficient. Your eyebrows went up. No, they didn't. 3 millimeters. You're lying about lying. That doesn't make sense. Welcome to my world. They reached the elevator. Logan pressed the button. The light came on. The hallway suddenly became very quiet, very small. Maya noticed they were standing very close to each other, closer than Logan's regulation 15 centimeters. So, she said, just to break the silence, that thing in the server room. Yes, you were going to say something, before the alarm. Logan went very still, the kind of still that looked like someone had pressed pause on him. I was. And it was. Important. Important how? Statistically significant. Maya turned to face him completely. Logan, are you talking about feelings using research terminology? It's the only language I have. Try English. It works for most people. He opened his mouth, closed it, blinked 3 times quickly, opened it again. I think about you, he finally said, frequently. At a frequency that interferes with productivity. You appear in my thoughts at statistically random moments, during meetings, while analyzing data. At 3 in the morning when I should be sleeping. Maya's heart did something that definitely wasn't healthy. Are you saying that? I don't know what to call it, but it's significant. The elevator arrived. Ding! The doors opened. Neither of them moved. Maya, he took a step forward. She didn't back away. One more step. Now they were very close. Dangerously close. So close that Maya could count the golden specks in his eyes. Logan looked at her lips. She looked at his. He tilted his head 5 degrees 10, 15. Maya stopped breathing. Their lips were centimeters apart. 2 centimeters. 1. And then Logan's brain clearly panicked because he froze completely, eyes wide as if he had just realized what he was doing. Maya froze too. They stayed like that, absurdly close, not moving, barely breathing. This is, Logan whispered. It is, Maya whispered back. Should we? Maybe. Protocol says. Forget the protocol. I don't know how. And then both stepped back at the same time as if they had received an electric shock, bumping into opposite walls of the hallway with a dull thud. Shoot. Maya hit her back against the wall hard enough to knock the air out of her lungs. Logan hit his shoulder on the opposite wall and grimaced. The elevator started to close. Logan stuck his arm out to hold the door, miscalculated, and hit his elbow on the metal door. Ow, are you okay? Maya asked. Elbow traumatized, but functional. You just described your pain as functional? It seemed appropriate. Maya pressed her hands against her face, half laughing, half in total panic. What did we almost? I don't know, but we. Yes. And you. Also yes. So we, apparently. The elevator beeped, annoyed at being held. Logan stepped in, still holding his arm. Maya stepped in too, positioning herself in the opposite corner as far as possible from him in a 2 square meters space. The doors closed. The silence was so thick it could be cut with a knife. Maya looked at the descending numbers. Logan looked at the ceiling, both avoiding eye contact as if it were lethal. So, Maya finally said. So, Logan repeated. We don't talk about this? Seems sensible. Totally agree. Great. Perfect. More silence. The elevator stopped at the ground floor. The doors opened. They went out in opposite directions. Maya to the left, Logan to the right, and then realized the exit was in the middle. They turned, walked back, almost collided, dodged with that strange dance people do when they don't know which way to go, and finally managed to exit the building without touching each other. Outside, on the sidewalk, they stopped. Good night, Maya, Logan said formally, as if they hadn't almost kissed 5 minutes ago. Good night, Logan, she responded, equally formal. He turned to go to the parking lot. She turned to go to the bus stop. After 3 steps, both looked back at the same time. Eyes met for 2 seconds, and then both turned quickly and kept walking, hearts beating uncontrollably, completely certain that the other hadn't felt absolutely anything. 48 hours. 2 full days since the almost kiss in the hallway, and Logan Pierce had disappeared from the face of TechCore Solutions as if he had been abducted by corporate aliens. Maya knew because she had been counting. Every hour. Every minute that she cleaned the 12th floor, and he didn't show up. Hypothesis F? She murmured on Tuesday morning, vacuuming with unnecessary violence on the carpet outside his office. He's avoiding me because he realized he almost kissed the cleaning lady, and now he's having an existential crisis. The vacuum choked on a paperclip. Exactly, she said to the machine. You understand me. On Wednesday afternoon, while cleaning the conference room, the monologues became more elaborate. Hypothesis G. He hired a stand-in to do meetings in his place while he hides in an underground bunker, planning how to fire the inconvenient employee who invaded his personal space. She threw the cleaning spray into the cart with force. Hypothesis H. I'm going to punch that robot in a suit, metaphorically, because physical violence is wrong, and also because he probably has very expensive lawyers. Talking to yourself again? Maya screamed. Because apparently it was her destiny to scream at least once per chapter, and spun so fast she knocked over the spray, which rolled across the floor and hit someone's foot. It wasn't Logan, it was Jennifer from accounting, holding a folder and looking at Maya with genuine concern. Are you okay, dear? Perfectly, Maya responded, in a voice too high-pitched to be convincing. Just practicing a monologue for a play, theater, that I'm definitely doing. I didn't know you did theater. It's new. Very new. Premieres never because it doesn't exist. Jennifer blinked. Are you sure you're okay? 100%. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to continue cleaning, indefinitely not planning how to confront an emotionally constipated CEO. She grabbed the spray and left the room before Jennifer could ask more questions. Thursday morning, Maya had reached stage 5 of indignation. Aggressive acceptance. Fine, she said to the mirror in the women's bathroom while washing her hands. He doesn't want to talk? Great. Perfect. I don't want to talk to him either. Who needs billionaire CEOs with communication problems? Not me. Definitely not me. She dried her hands hard enough to almost tear the paper towel. I have my life, my job, my therapeutic monologues in the hallway. I don't need validation from someone who processes emotions like they're Excel spreadsheets. The bathroom door opened. 3 women in suits came in, talking about the quarterly meeting. Maya left quickly, still grumbling. That's when she saw him. Logan Pierce, standing in the hallway near his office, looking at his phone as if it were the most fascinating object in the universe. Something exploded in Maya's chest. Not exactly anger, more like combustible indignation. She marched up to him before she could think better of it. You. Logan raised his head so fast he almost dropped his phone. Maya. Don't Maya me. Where were you? I was. 48 hours, Logan. 48. I counted, because apparently my life has reached a point where I count how many hours I haven't seen my boss who ignores me after almost kissing me. His eyes widened. I weren't what? Avoiding? Because you were definitely avoiding, like Olympic level avoiding. If avoiding were a sport, you'd win the gold medal. I needed space. Space, Maya repeated, incredulous. Space. You work in a 20-story building and you needed space? Mental space. To process. Process what? The reality that you're human and have feelings? That you almost kissed someone and it didn't fit into your spreadsheet of approved behavior? Logan opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. No sound came out. That, Maya pointed at him, what you're doing right now. You're freezing, like an old computer trying to run a program that's too complex. I don't know what to say, he finally admitted, and his voice came out so low that Maya almost didn't hear. How about, hi Maya, sorry for disappearing like a corporate ghost. Or Maya, we need to talk about that. Or literally anything other than avoiding me like I have some contagious disease. You don't have a disease. I know I don't. People started appearing in the hallway, curious about the noise. Maya realized she was practically yelling at the company's CEO in front of half a dozen employees. She lowered her voice, but maintained the intensity. Look, if you regretted it, fine. If you thought it was a mistake, I understand. But you can't just disappear. That's cowardice. And you're not a coward, Logan. You're many things. Socially confused, emotionally constipated, addicted to etiquette articles. But you're not a coward. Logan went very quiet. The kind of quiet that preceded either a breakdown or a revelation. I don't regret it, he finally said. Maya blinked. What? I don't regret it, and I didn't think it was a mistake. He ran his hand through his hair, messing it up even more. I panicked, because I don't know how to process this. I have no protocol. There's no article that explains how to deal with you. With me? With what I feel when I'm near you. It's, he gestured vaguely, searching for words, chaotic, unpredictable, statistically anomalous. You walk into my office and suddenly my basic operating systems stop working. I forget protocols. I do things that don't make logical sense, like reading 47 articles about human interactions, or memorizing how many sugar packets you use, or almost kissing you in a hallway because for a moment I forgot that rules exist. Maya felt something tighten in her chest. Logan. So I stepped away because I thought I needed to reestablish order. Appropriate professional boundaries. But he finally looked directly at her, and his eyes were so vulnerable that Maya felt like hugging him. It didn't work. Because you were still here. He touched his own temple, occupying 73% of my mental capacity, interfering with productivity, appearing in dreams I don't know how to classify. 73%, Maya repeated, half laughing, half crying. Could be 74, margin of error of plus or minus 2 points. You're quantifying your feelings again. It's the only way I know how. And then Maya did something completely impulsive and potentially stupid. She closed the distance between them and hugged him. Logan froze completely, arms at his sides, body rigid, as if he had never been hugged in his life. What are you doing? He whispered. Hugging you, you idiot robot. It's what humans do when another human is having an emotional breakdown in public. Is this allowed? I'm allowing it. Slowly, very slowly, Logan's arms moved. He hugged her back, awkward and uncertain, but real. They stayed like that for 5 seconds that felt like eternity, completely forgetting that there were at least 10 employees watching with expressions ranging from shocked to amused. When Maya pulled away, her face was warm and his was red all the way to his ears. So, she said, were 48 hours of avoidance enough, or do you need more time to process? Enough. Logan responded immediately. Definitely enough. Great, because if you disappear again, I swear I'm going to break into your office and delete all your spreadsheets. That would be catastrophic, I know. But also effective as motivation. That's my specialty. Logan almost smiled. That half smile that was becoming more frequent. And then his phone vibrated. He looked at the screen and his face changed completely. What is it? Maya asked. Harrison. He called an emergency board meeting. Tomorrow. 9 in the morning. Maya's stomach sank. The folder. He knows we found it. And by the way, Logan looked at her. She knew she was right. The conference room on the 20th floor looked like a courtroom. 9:03 on Friday morning, and Logan Pierce was sitting at one end of the huge mahogany table, while Harrison Clark occupied the other, as if he already owned the place. Between them, 6 board members with expressions ranging from skeptical to hostile. Maya was hidden in the hallway, glued to the door, listening to everything through a plastic cup pressed against the wood. Scientifically proven method, she murmured to herself. It's totally not spying if it's for a good cause. Inside the room, Harrison opened a presentation on the giant screen. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice was pure poison silk. I called this meeting because I discovered serious irregularities in the financial management of TechCore Solutions. Logan remained motionless, but Maya, even without seeing him, knew he was doing that thing of blinking 12 times in a row when he got nervous. Specifically, Harrison continued, clicking to the next slide, an error of $523 million in market projections that almost resulted in catastrophic investments. Murmurs around the table. Mr. Pierce, a woman with red-framed glasses, Margaret Pemberton, Maya recognized from the photos in the annual reports, leaned forward. Were you aware of this error? I was, Logan responded, voice firm, and it was corrected before any real damage. By you? Harrison asked, shark smile fully visible. By someone on my team. Interesting, because according to my records, your analysis department didn't identify this problem. In fact, Harrison clicked again, revealing emails. They approved these projections. So who exactly saved the company from this disaster? Logan didn't respond. Let me guess, Harrison practically purred. It was you yourself in some moment of last-minute genius? Or, he made a dramatic pause, you simply got lucky? In the hallway, Maya was practically biting the plastic cup out of sheer rage. Final hypothesis, she whispered. I'm going to go in there and metaphorically punch this shark in a suit. Furthermore, Harrison continued, I would like to draw attention to multiple inconsistencies in the quarterly reports. Duplicated data, numbers that don't make sense, and all under the direct supervision of Mr. Pierce. He was showing exactly the documents Maya had found, but distorted, manipulated to make it look like Logan was responsible. This is ridiculous, Logan said, but his voice had lost some of its firmness. Is it? Harrison opened another folder. Because I have here evidence that you have been accessing the financial systems at unconventional hours, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, erratic behavior that suggests either incompetence or something worse. Maya felt her blood boil. Those were the hours that she was there. That they were there, working together. Motion for a vote of no confidence, a bald man at the end of the table said. We need to consider a change in leadership if... The door opened. Maya entered like a hurricane of blue apron and righteous indignation. All eyes turned to her. Sorry to interrupt, she said, not sounding sorry at all, but you're about to make the most embarrassing corporate mistake since that company that tried to sell tap water for $20 a bottle. Harrison went white. Who are you? Maya Reeves, Corporate Environment Maintenance, also known as the person who actually saved this company from losing $500 million. Absolute silence. Logan looked at her with an expression that was half terror, half admiration. Margaret Pemberton took off her glasses. "You're from the cleaning staff?" "Technically, yes. But I'm also the person with 2 years of statistics from the University of Texas, undiagnosed OCD that makes me notice patterns, and zero patience for corporate sharks who manipulate data." She walked to the screen, snatched the remote from Harrison's hand, who was too shocked to react, and connected her own old laptop she had brought hidden. "May I?" she asked, but she was already clicking. "This is extremely irregular," the bald man protested. "You know what else is irregular? Fraud. But we'll get to that." Maya opened the first image. The original graphs with the errors. "Okay, so, quick statistics lesson for executives. These graphs here," she pointed, "are emotional crimes. Like, if graphs could go to therapy, these would be there every week crying about their lives." Someone let out a muffled laugh. Harrison wasn't laughing. The error was just an error. Human. Normal. It happens. But it was corrected, by me, by the way, at 2:14 in the morning on a Sunday because I can't see wrong numbers without fixing them, before any real damage. She clicked to the next slide. Now, this part here, the duplicated data that Mr. Clark so kindly presented? Interesting, because when I got these documents, she opened another folder, straight from the recycling bin in his office, I discovered something fascinating. Harrison's eyes widened. "You stole documents from my office?" "I didn't steal, I rescued them from the trash. Important legal difference I learned watching legal shows while cleaning." Maya enlarged a table. "Look at the modification dates. These files? They were altered after the original reports were approved. And guess from which computer?" She turned the laptop to show the metadata. "User, H. Clark. I'm not a tech expert, but I'd bet my minimum wage that H doesn't stand for hippopotamus." Genuine laughter now. Harrison was turning red. "This doesn't prove anything," he said, voice tense. "This data could have been tampered with. I totally agree. By you. I'll go further. Here," she opened emails, "your communications with Crescent Mark Investments, which coincidentally offered to buy TechCore shares last week. Funny that happened right when you were planting evidence of mismanagement, huh?" Margaret stood up. "Mr. Clark, is this true?" "She's distorting. Answer the question," Margaret cut in, voice icy. Harrison opened his mouth. Closed it. His eyes searched for support around the table and found none. "I was protecting the company's interests, sabotaging the CEO and manipulating the board," another board member, a woman with gray hair, said. "That's your definition of protection?" Maya seized the moment. "Look, I don't understand corporate politics. I'm just the person who cleansed the offices and accidentally saves companies from financial disasters." But she looked directly at Logan, who was looking at her as if she were the most incredible thing he had ever seen. "I know how to recognize competence when I see it. And Logan Pierce? He's brilliant. Socially confused sometimes, yes. Tendency to process emotions like spreadsheets, definitely. But competent, honest, and genuinely committed to this company." She turned to the board. "You have two paths. Believe the manipulative shark who literally tried to take down his own CEO for personal profit, or believe the real data. Which, by the way, I have all of it here." She held up a flash drive, including backup copies that I hid in 3 different places in case something happened to me, because I learned from movies that villains always try to destroy evidence. Heavy silence. Then Margaret started to applaud. Slowly at first, then others joined in. Harrison left the room without a word, but not before looking at Maya with pure hatred. When the door closed, Margaret turned to Logan. "Mr. Pierce, it seems you have an exceptional analyst on your team." "Actually," Logan said, standing up, "she's in the cleaning department." "Not anymore," Margaret decided. "Miss Reeves, would you like to formalize a position in data analysis? With appropriate salary, obviously." Maya blinked. "You're offering me a real job? You just saved this company. Twice. And dismantled a corporate conspiracy using recycling bin documents. I'd say you're more than qualified." Maya looked at Logan. He was smiling, a real, complete smile that completely transformed his face, and she realized that finally, someone was seeing her value. "I accept," she said, "but only if I can continue doing dramatic monologues in the hallways. It's therapeutic." The Austin sunset painted the sky orange and pink when Maya received the message. "Rooftop, 6:37 p.m. Please come, LP." She looked at her phone, her new work phone, courtesy of the promotion, and then at the clock. 6:34. 3 minutes, she murmured. He gave me exactly 3 minutes notice. Is that romantic or efficient, or romantically efficient? She was in her new office, a small but real room, with a window and everything. Still surrounded by cardboard boxes because she had moved in just 6 hours ago. Okay, go Maya. It's probably just about work, like quarterly reports or new recycling policies. Definitely not a romantic confession at sunset. She climbed 3 flights of stairs because the elevator was slow, arrived at the rooftop at exactly 6:38, and found Logan standing near the railing, looking at the city. He had changed from a suit to jeans and a navy blue t-shirt. No tie. Hair still messy, but on purpose this time. You're late, he said without turning around. 1 minute, and you gave me 3 minutes notice. 3.5 minutes. I rounded. Of course you rounded, Maya approached, standing next to him at the railing. Okay, I'm here. What was so urgent it needed a message marked with a specific minute? Logan was quiet for so long that Maya started to wonder if he had frozen. Logan? I practiced, he finally said. Practiced what? This conversation, 17 times, in the mirror, and in the car, and during the afternoon board meeting, which was inappropriate but necessary. Maya turned to look at him completely. You practice talking to me? Yes. Why? Because every time I try to talk about this, he gestured vaguely between the two of them, my brain enters critical failure mode, and I say things like, your eyebrows are statistically significant. Maya let out a laugh. You never said that. I thought it, 3 times, almost said it once. My goodness, you're a disaster. I know, he finally turned to face her, and the golden light of the sunset made his eyes look greener than ever. That's why I practiced. Okay, so, practice. Go ahead, I'm listening. Logan took a deep breath, exhaled. Breathed again. I want to apologize. For everything. For disappearing for 48 hours. For not knowing how to process basic human feelings. For turning every interaction into a mathematical equation, because it's the only way my brain accepts it as real. Logan. No. Let me finish before I forget the script, he said, and Maya realized he was genuinely nervous. His hands were trembling slightly. I was a coward. You were right. I panicked because for the first time in 32 years I felt something that didn't fit in a spreadsheet, and instead of being a functional adult about it, I ran away. And you deserved better. You deserve better. Maya felt something tighten in her chest. You're apologizing for having feelings? I'm apologizing for not knowing how to handle them appropriately. Appropriate according to whom? According to the 47 articles I read. 47? The number went up. The situation was critical. Maya pressed her lips together to keep from laughing. Continue. I want to hear the rest of the script rehearsed 17 times. Logan ran his hand through his hair, a nervousness gesture she already recognized and found adorable. I also wanted to thank you. Not just for saving the company, not just for dismantling Harrison in front of the entire board, which was simultaneously the most terrifying and most incredible thing I've ever seen, but for seeing me. Seeing you? Most people look at me and see the CEO or the billionaire or the weird guy who doesn't understand jokes. But you, he took a step closer. You see the Logan who stays up at 3 in the morning, worried about numbers. The Logan who reads ridiculous articles trying to figure out how to be human. The Logan who doesn't know how to express that he's been thinking about you since that first night. Maya stopped breathing. You think about me? Constantly, obsessively. In a way that interferes with adequate sleep and productivity at work. You appear in data analyses, in board meetings, during that terribly boring presentation about market expansion on Tuesday, where I spent 40 minutes imagining what it would be like if you were there making sarcastic comments. Hypothesis G, Maya murmured, half laughing, half in shock. He's having a romantic bug. It's not a bug, it's a system update. Version 2.0. With new emotional features I don't know how to operate yet. Logan, that's literally the nerdiest confession I've ever heard. It's all I have, he admitted, voice getting lower. I don't know how to make grand romantic gestures. I don't know poetry. I don't know how normal people do this. I only know that when you walk into a room, my heart rate increases 17%. That coffee with vanilla reminds me of you. That moment in the hallway when I almost kissed you was the most terrifying and most right moment of my entire life. Maya felt tears burning in her eyes. Stop, she said. Stop. You're being too you, and it's working. And I don't know how to deal with that. Why not? Because I'm Maya, the cleaning lady who talks to herself and spills expensive coffee and breaks into computers. You're the genius billionaire CEO who doesn't know how to use human words without a script, who has zero real friends, who spent 32 years thinking he was broken until he found someone who processed the world the same strange way I do. I'm not brilliant like you. You dismantled a corporate conspiracy using recycling bin documents. That was improvisation. You saved $500 million because you couldn't ignore wrong numbers. That's undiagnosed OCD. You hugged me when I was having an emotional breakdown in public, even knowing there were 10 people watching. That was. Maya searched for an argument and couldn't find one. Brave, Logan completed. You're the bravest person I know, and funniest, and most genuine, and I am completely mathematically, statistically in love with you. Silence. The sunset continued happening, indifferent to the fact that Maya's world had just been turned upside down. You, she said slowly, just said you're in love with me using scientific research terminology. Yes, and you practiced this 17 times. 18, technically. One was in the shower. In the shower, Maya repeated, and then started laughing, that uncontrollable laugh that only happened around him. You're impossible. I'm frequently told that. But in a good way. She took a step forward, closing the distance. In a very, very good way. Does that mean you? That I also think about you constantly? Yes. That I found your statistically significant apology adorable? Definitely. That I'm also having this horrible and wonderful romantic bug? 100%. Logan smiled, that complete smile that transformed his face. So, can I? If you don't kiss me now, after all that rehearsed speech, I swear I'm going to. He kissed her. It wasn't smooth, it wasn't perfect, it was awkward and anxious and wonderful. And when they separated, both laughing, forehead touching forehead, Maya murmured, "Final hypothesis, I'm completely in love with the most adorable robot in Austin." Data confirms, Logan whispered back. And the Austin sunset had never looked so perfect. Logan arrived at Maya's apartment at 7:03 on Saturday night, holding a 5-page document. You're late, Maya said, opening the door. 3 minutes. Unexpected traffic on Congress Avenue. And you're holding? Operational plan, he replied, completely serious. 17 steps for a successful first romantic date, color coding included. Maya looked at the document, then at him, then back at the document. You made a manual for our date? With footnotes and bibliographic references. References, Logan, this is a date, not a thesis defense. I wanted to ensure appropriate quality, he said, entering when she gestured. Then he stopped, looking around the small one-bedroom apartment. They said, your home is cozy. Cozy is code for tiny. No, it's genuinely cozy. It has plants and photos, and that blanket that looks soft, he pointed at the couch. It is soft and old. My grandmother made it. It has sentimental value then, statistically more valuable than any expensive blanket without history. Maya felt something melt in her chest. Okay, you earned points with that one. Now show me the ridiculous manual. Logan opened the document to page 1 with visible pride. Step 1. Appropriate greeting. A kiss on the cheek or hug is recommended, depending on comfort level. We literally kissed yesterday on the rooftop. Yes, but that was spontaneous. Today's official. It needs structure. You're unbelievable. Maya laughed, but she moved closer and kissed him. Quick, on the mouth, just because she could now. Logan blinked 12 times. That wasn't in step 1. Improvisation. Learn from it. Noting mentally, he murmured, turning the page. Step 2. Dinner at a restaurant with a minimum rating of 4 stars. No. Remember the last time you took me somewhere expensive? I threw $18 coffee on your shirt. Valid point. Alternative? Maya grabbed her keys from the counter. Street food. There's a taco food truck near the river that's going to change your life. Food truck is not in the plan. Logan? Breathe. Let go of control. Trust me. He looked at the document, then at her. Then back at the document with an expression of genuine anguish. I don't know how to function without a plan. I know, but today you're gonna try. With me. I promise I won't let you go into total breakdown. Probability of breakdown is high? 97%. Maya agreed. But it's going to be fun. 40 minutes later, they were sitting at a picnic table near the Colorado River, each with 3 tacos, and Logan looking at the food as if it were an alien artifact. You eat with your hands, he observed. It's a taco, Logan. It's literally impossible to eat a taco without using your hands. Step 5 of the plan suggested appropriate use of utensils. Forget the plan. Maya grabbed a taco and took a huge bite, sauce dripping down her fingers. See? Like this. Logan picked up his own taco with surgical care. He took a tiny bite. His eyes widened. This is statistically the best taco I've ever eaten. Because you've probably only eaten tacos from fancy restaurants with silver utensils. Correct. He took another bite, bigger this time. This should be in the plan. Step 2 revised. Tacos are mandatory. Maya laughed so hard she almost choked. You're making mental notes again? Always. It's instinct. They ate in comfortable silence, watching the river and the city lights reflecting on the water. Couples walked by. A street musician played guitar, Austin in all its organized chaos. Can I ask you something? Maya finally said. Yes. Is this real? Like us? It's not just some temporary phase where the billionaire CEO is bored and decided to try dating the former cleaning lady? Logan put the taco on his plate and turned completely to face her. Temporary? It's just that? Our realities are very different. You live in a penthouse that probably costs more than my annual salary. You have a driver. I have a 2003 Civic that makes worrying noises. And in a few weeks, when the novelty wears off… Maya, stop. She stopped, but didn't look at him. Look at me, Logan said gently. She obeyed. Do you think I made a 17-step plan for something temporary? I hate unnecessary planning. Every second I spend creating protocol is a second I'm not doing something productive. But I made this plan because you matter. Because I want to do it right, not for weeks, for an indefinite time. Indefinite time, Maya repeated, almost smiling, until unpredictable variables prove otherwise. But statistically, based on how much I think about you, the probability of me getting tired is 0.003%. You just gave me romantic statistics again. It's my love language. Accept it or return it. Maya laughed, that real burst of laughter, and Logan smiled too. Besides, he continued, you're wrong about our realities. My life before you was empty meetings and cold numbers. You brought chaos and laughter and purpose that doesn't fit in spreadsheets. So if anyone here should be afraid of being temporary, it should be me. You're the person everyone wants around. I'm the socially dysfunctional robot. The adorable robot, Maya corrected. Still a robot. My robot, she said, and then realized what she had said. Was that too intense for a third date? Technically second. The coffee doesn't count because it ended in disaster. Fair enough. So for a second date? Perfect. Within acceptable parameters. You're never going to stop talking like a computer, are you? Negative. Great. Don't change. Maya leaned in and kissed him. Taste of taco and hot sauce and everything else. When they separated, Logan had sauce on the corner of his mouth. You have. Maya pointed. He tried to wipe it. Missed completely. Other side. Missed again. Let me do it. She cleaned it with the napkin, laughing. You're clumsy. Only around you. Your effects on my motor coordination are measurable. Is that romantic or concerning? Both. They finished the tacos, walked along the river trail holding hands, with Logan holding her hand as if it were a precious artifact that could break at any moment, and ended up at an illuminated fountain where children were throwing coins. Step 13, Logan said suddenly. Still thinking about the plan? It said to make a meaningful romantic gesture. He took a coin from his pocket. Make a wish. Seriously? Step 13 is very specific about this. Maya took the coin, closed her eyes, and threw it in the fountain. What did you wish for? Logan asked. I can't tell you, otherwise it won't come true. That has no scientific basis. Neither does love, but here we are. Logan considered this, took out another coin, closed his eyes, blinking 12 times before, and threw it. Now you have to tell me what you wished for, Maya teased, against the rules you yourself established. I made the rules. I can break them. That's anarchy. That's a relationship. Logan smiled, that smile that was still rare and precious. I wished for you to keep finding my ridiculous protocols adorable instead of just ridiculous. Granted, Maya said, and kissed him right there in front of the fountain with half a dozen families watching. And when they separated, both laughing, she whispered, "Step 17 accomplished?" I didn't even get to 17, but improvisation is acceptable when the result is satisfactory. Very satisfactory? Data confirms, he said, and pulled her in for another kiss. Neither of them noticed the black car parked across the street, or Harrison Clark sitting in the back seat, phone in hand, calculating expression. He typed a quick message and hit send. Phase 2 initiated. The summons arrived on a Monday at 8:15 in the morning. Logan was in the middle of a meeting when his assistant walked in, pale as paper, holding an official envelope with the seal of the Travis County District Court. "Mr. Pierce, this was just delivered." Maya was sitting across the table, because now she attended meetings, which still seemed surreal, and saw the color drain from his face when he opened the document. "Logan?" she said quietly. He didn't respond. He just passed the paper to her with a slightly trembling hand. Clark versus Pierce. Action for defamation, breach of contract, and... Maya read further, her eyes widening. Misappropriation of intellectual property? He's suing you for $80 million? Apparently, Logan said, voice completely emotionless, which Maya already knew meant absolute internal panic. "But this is ridiculous. He's the one who tried to sabotage the company. We have proof," which was obtained through questionable methods. One of the company's lawyers, a 60-year-old man named Richard Pembroke, said carefully. "Documents taken from recycling without authorization. Files accessed after hours. From a legal standpoint, Mr. Clark has an argument that his privacy was violated. So he can sabotage an entire company, but we can't find the evidence because it was in the trash?" Maya stood up so fast she knocked over her chair. "That makes zero legal sense." "Welcome to the American legal system," Richard responded, tired. Logan was still looking at the document as if it were a death sentence. "He's going to win." "He won't," Maya said with conviction she didn't completely feel. "He will. Because he's right, technically, about the methods. And in court, technicality matters more than being right. Then we changed the game." Everyone looked at her. "Explain," Richard said. "Look, I don't know anything about law. Like, zero. My legal knowledge comes from TV shows where everyone wears expensive suits and dramatically yells objection. But," she started pacing back and forth, "I know how to read people. And Harrison Clark? He's predictable. He operates on fear, on control, on the idea that everyone around him is inferior." "And how does that help us?" Richard asked, but he was paying attention. "Because people like that have a pattern. He doesn't want to go to a real trial. A trial is public. It's unpredictable. He wants a settlement. He wants Logan to bow down, pay quietly, and he comes out as the victim." Logan finally looked at her. "Continue." "So we don't give him what he wants. We go straight to him. Today, now, and I dismantle him." "You," Richard repeated incredulous, "with no legal training, are going to dismantle an experienced CFO with a team of lawyers? Not with law, with psychology, which is basically my unofficial specialty because I spend my whole life analyzing why people do what they do." "This is completely irregular," Richard protested. "It was irregular when she saved the company twice," Logan said, also standing up. "But it worked, both times. Logan, schedule a meeting with Clark. Today, 4 in the afternoon. Neutral location, just me, Maya, and him with whoever he wants to bring. You're betting $80 million on a psychological reading?" Logan looked at Maya. Really looked, as if he were calculating probabilities and all of them gave the same result. "No, I'm betting on the smartest person I know." 4:13 in the afternoon, Harrison's law office in downtown Austin. Maya was sitting next to Logan in a conference room that smelled of expensive leather and veiled threats. On the other side of the table, Harrison Clark, shark smile perfectly calibrated, flanked by 2 lawyers who looked like they came out of a movie about corporate villains. "Miss Reeves," Harrison said, voice dripping with false cordiality. "Surprised to see you here. I thought we were having a conversation between adults." "Funny," Maya responded, leaning forward. "I was thinking the same thing when I saw you brought 2 lawyers to a meeting that was supposedly about a reasonable settlement." One of the lawyers, a woman with sharp glasses, opened her mouth, but Harrison raised his hand. "Let her. This is going to be fun." Great, because I have questions. Maya pulled out a notepad from nowhere. First, do you really think 80 million is a credible number? Because mathematically, based on your salary over the last 5 years, there's no way you could have suffered that level of damage. Emotional damage, Harrison responded smoothly. Reputation, psychological trauma from being falsely accused. Right, psychological trauma. Interesting, Maya scribbled something. Second question, how many hours of therapy have you had in the last 6 months? Is that relevant? Very, because if you're claiming psychological trauma, you should have sought treatment. But I'd bet my new salary that you haven't been to a single session because, she looked directly into his eyes, you don't have trauma. You have anger at being caught. Harrison's smile wavered. You're analyzing your behavioral pattern? Yes, it's kind of my hobby. So here we go. You're a 62-year-old man who spent 40 years building a career. You were always the smartest person in the room, always in control. Then along comes a 32-year-old CEO who's more brilliant, younger, more successful. And you can't take it, so you sabotage. Because if you can't be the best, you make sure no one else can be either. This is amateur psychological speculation. I totally agree. I'm extremely amateur, but I'm also right. Maya turned to his lawyers. You know I am, right? That's why you're so quiet, because if this goes to trial, I'll go on the stand and do this entire analysis for the jury. And you know what juries hate? Powerful rich men trying to destroy younger people because of wounded ego. Harrison's lawyer finally spoke. Miss Reeves, with all due respect, you don't need to respect me. You need to take me seriously. Important difference. Maya looked back at Harrison. So here's my offer. You drop the lawsuit. Logan doesn't sue you back, even though he has legal grounds to do so. Everyone moves on with their lives. You keep some dignity. We keep our 80 million. And why would I accept that? Because, Maya stood up, placing her hands on the table. If it goes to court, I'm not just going to dismantle your case. I'm going to dismantle you. I'm going to sit in that witness chair and analyze every micro-expression, every pattern, every moment when your insecurities drove your decisions. And you're not going to come out of there as a victim. You're going to come out as the man who couldn't handle aging in an industry that values youth. Absolute silence. Harrison was red. The lawyers were looking at him, waiting for instruction. Also, Maya added, sitting back down, you sued for the wrong number. You should have asked for 50. 80 is too greedy. Juries notice greed. How did you? I read about the Patterson versus TechCorp case last year. Similar situation. The jury rejected it because the number was absurd. You should have done your homework. Harrison's lawyer looked at him with an expression that clearly said, she's right. Logan was trying not to smile. Failing. Harrison took a deep breath, exhaled. His shark smile had completely disappeared. You, he said to Maya, are a problem. I know, it's kind of my trademark, she responded cheerfully. He stood up. My lawyers will be in touch about the terms of withdrawal. Agree, but this isn't over, Ms. Reeves. People like you always stumble eventually. True, Maya agreed. I stumble constantly, usually over my own foot, but I always get back up. Harrison left, lawyers behind him, leaving Maya and Logan alone in the room. 3 seconds of silence. Then Logan pulled her into a hug so tight she could barely breathe. You just saved everything, he murmured into her hair. I just did basic psychological reading. You did magic. I don't believe in magic. I believe in patterns. Logan pulled away just enough to look at her face. You're not my assistant, not my employee. You're equal? My equal, he agreed, smiling completely, perfectly imperfect. And there in the expensive law firm conference room that still smelled of veiled threats, he kissed her as if it were the first and last time. When they separated, both laughing, Maya said, So, was that intimidating? Statistically terrifying and attractive in equal proportions. You romanticized it again. That's expected at this point. And they walked out of the room holding hands, leaving the building. 3 months after the case was dismissed, Logan Pierce was having a nervous breakdown on the TechCore Solutions rooftop. Breathe, he murmured to himself, looking at the small velvet box in his pocket. It's statistically simple. Question. Answer. 2 possible outcomes. 50% chance each. Your chances are much higher than 50%, you know. Logan spun so fast he almost dropped the box. Maya was standing at the rooftop door, smiling that smile that still made his brain short-circuit a little. "You arrived early," he said, shoving his hand into his pocket too quickly and almost piercing his palm with the box. "You called me here saying urgent matter, life or tax audit. I thought the company was on fire." "It's not." "Then why the dramatic message?" "Because." Logan ran his hand through his hair. "Because I needed you to come." "I always come when you ask, you know that." "Yes, but today is different." Maya approached, tilting her head with that analytical expression he loved. "You're trembling. I'm aware. And sweating. Your ears are red. Elevated breathing rate. Logan, are you okay?" "The definition of okay is relative." "You're worrying me." She took his hand. "Seriously. What happened? Did Harrison come back? Is there a problem with the board? Did they find out I still take documents from the recycling sometimes?" "No, none of that. He took a deep breath. "I practiced this 63 times. I had a script, 8 pages, with notes and supporting graphs in case I needed visual reference." "Graphs," Maya repeated, trying not to laugh. "Graphs for what?" "For this." He tried to take the box out of his pocket. He froze. He pulled harder. The box flew out of his hand, spun in the air, and Maya caught it with reflexes that had improved drastically since the coffee incident. She looked at the box, then at him, then back at the box. "Logan, is this—" "Don't open it yet, I have to speak first. There's an order. Step 1, historical context. Step 2, declaration of intentions. Step 3, formal question. Step 5. You made steps for asking me to marry you?" "Technically, yes, but I forgot them all, completely. My memory was deleted. I'm operating in emergency mode." Maya pressed her lips together, visibly fighting laughter. Okay, let's try again, from scratch, no steps. I don't know how to function without steps." "Logan, look at me." He obeyed. His gray-green eyes met hers, vulnerable and terrified. "Breathe," Maya said gently. "I'm here. You're here. There's no script. Just say what you want to say." Logan closed his eyes, opened them, started to speak, and the words came out all wrong. "I don't know how to do this right. There should be flowers, 52 roses, one for each week we've been together, and a violinist or a string quartet, and a memorized speech about how you transformed my life from cold spreadsheets into something with color and meaning, and—" He stopped, breathed. "But the truth is, I can't make a grand romantic gesture because my brain freezes when I try. So I'm going to do it the way I know how, with uncomfortable honesty and inappropriate statistics." Maya was laughing and crying at the same time. "Continue." "When you walked into my office that first night, sitting in my chair, talking to yourself about hypotheses, I thought you were a bug in my system, an anomaly that didn't make sense. And I spent 3 months trying to categorize you, to understand you, to put you in a logical box. But you don't fit in boxes. You're chaos. You're unpredictable. You're everything my brain was trained to avoid. And yet," he took a step closer, taking her hands, "yet you're the only thing in my life that makes complete sense." A tear rolled down Maya's face. "Logan, no, let me finish before I forget again. You taught me that not everything needs protocol. That sometimes it's okay to let expensive coffee spill. That tripping over your own foot is human and perfect. That love isn't an equation to solve. It's chaos to accept, and I want to accept your chaos, every day, for an indefinite time, until the universe's unpredictable variables separate us." That was the nerdiest proposal I've ever heard. "I'm not done yet." He finally took the box from her hand and knelt, awkwardly, almost losing his balance, having to support himself with one hand on the ground. "Are you okay down there?" Maya asked, laughing and crying. "My left knee disagrees, but protocol requires this position." "Forget the protocol." "I can't. It's who I am." "But," he opened the box, revealing a simple white gold ring with a small diamond, "you accept who I am, bugs included. So, Maya Reeves, will you accept to be the person who shares my bugs and my upgrades, who corrects my errors and lets me correct yours?" "Who?" "Yes." Logan blinked. "I wasn't finished." "You don't need to. The answer is yes. It was always yes. Since that night in the server room when you confessed you don't know how to deal with people. Since the spilled coffee. Since the first confirmed. Yes. 1,000 times yes. But I had 7 more paragraphs prepared. You can recite them later, as vows, at the wedding. Which is going to happen because I said yes." Logan stood up, with difficulty, holding onto the railing for support, and put the ring on her finger, with hands trembling so much he needed 3 tries. Statistically, he said, voice choked, this was the most terrifying and best thing I've ever done. Data confirms, Maya responded, and pulled him into a kiss that started soft and turned desperate and ended up perfect. When they separated, both laughing and crying, Maya looked at the ring. It's beautiful, simple, exactly my style. How did you know? I asked your grandmother. Wait. When did you meet my grandmother? 3 weeks ago. I needed family approval. I also needed tips about your ring size because I couldn't ask without ruining the surprise. You asked my grandmother for approval? Traditional protocol. Article 52. You read 52 articles? 64. Technically, the situation was critical. Maya kissed him again, and once more until they ran out of air. You're impossible, she said against his lips. I'm frequently told that. But you're my impossible now. Forever, Logan agreed. Or at least until variables. If you talk about unpredictable variables again, I swear He kissed her before she could finish the threat. And there, on the same rooftop where he had confessed being in love using scientific terminology, where she had realized that her robotic CEO was actually human in the most vulnerable way possible, Logan Pierce and Maya Reeves began the next chapter. Without spreadsheets, without protocols. Just 2 human bugs who had found a way to function perfectly together. The Austin view stretched around them, city lights starting to blink with the arrival of night. And for the first time in 32 years, Logan Pierce wasn't calculating probabilities or analyzing outcomes. He was just happy, completely statistically, magnificently happy. So, Maya said after a moment, still nestled in his arms, where do we get married? And don't tell me you have a spreadsheet comparing venues. Logan went very quiet. Logan, there may be a small spreadsheet with geographical data and cost-benefit analysis of... She kissed him again, laughing. And as the sun finished setting over Austin, 2 unlikely people in love planned the future. One with spreadsheets, the other with organized chaos. And somehow it worked perfectly. And you, what did you think of Logan and Maya? If you were in Maya's place, would you have the courage to sit in the CEO's chair at 2 in the morning? And if you were in Logan's place, how many articles would you read before inviting someone for coffee? Leave your opinion in the comments. On a scale of 0 to 10, what grade would you give this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive more exciting stories like this one. See you next time.